All right, so Joe and I are going to just go back and forth as we get through the details here. But first, for those of you who don't know Angel Investing 101, or just to set the stage, I got three quick topics from the beginning of the lesson. First question I always start with, especially when I'm teaching this to the entrepreneurs, why are you raising money? Like, why are you bothered? Raising money is hard. Joe, what would the answer be?
Oh, if I'm the founder, well, we have a great business opportunity. We just see more capital to make it grow faster.
There we go. All right, so it's time, right? And when I do this with entrepreneurs, usually it takes 50 people in a room before you get the right answer. They all go, I want to raise money because I want a company. No, not really. You can have a company right now. You have one right now. We know the saying that time is money. In the startup world, money is time. Money buys you the future now. It buys you access to customers. It buys you talent to make your product better now. It just gets you quicker into market. And then the only other thing that it really buys that you can't get in bootstrapping is it buys you equipment that you can't afford. And so when you work with physical product companies, they need money in order to get that equipment in order to get to market. So flip side of that is, why do we invest in startups? Like, why would we do this? It's hard. It's troublesome. And the answer there, without going into the room, is that there's kind of three reasons. It's part of capitalism. The people who have the money to invest like to make money, so they invest to make more money. They generally have skills that they want to share with entrepreneurs because those skills are useful and it feels good to share your experiences. And angel investing is fun. It's fun in the activities of working with startups because startups are fun. It's also fun because you can then turn at the next cocktail party and say, let me tell you about my newest investment, right? And so it gives you some social cred. And in realistic life, it's actually the other way around, right? So that's the real reason people do angel investing, is for the social prestige and the fun of doing it. And money is something that comes out at the end if you do it right. And then lastly, in terms of angel investing, now it's 103, right? Third little step. We're talking about this stage of growth in a startup. So we don't have, unfortunately, the industry doesn't agree on what to call these stages or where the borders are. It used to be a lot simpler in the 80s and 90s, but it's gotten more complicated. So these are my names, and I've seen these names batted around. I didn't make these up. So there's kind of the really early times when maybe there's not even a company yet. Again, there's an idea, there's no customers. It's generally funded by friends and family. And then we get to the part where angels typically tread. So angels might start here and end somewhere over here. But this key part that you find most startups are in is the valley of death. That's what it's called. It's also called the pioneer gap. It's the time when it seems like it might be working. They need money to prove out the rest of it. And there just aren't enough angels. There just isn't enough capital to fill in that gap. And so we call it the valley of death because a lot of startups die in that space. And then growth is it's working, right? We know that this business model works. We think that more money will make it grow faster. We don't know that for sure. And we're going to pump in some money to make it bigger. And the further along it gets in this curve, the more confidence we have that more money will make it bigger. And then exit is where a lot of companies are aiming for, which is selling out as an acquisition or going public. So if we just interspace that on top of the big chart of where capital comes from, depending on what stage the company's in, the capital comes from different places. So back at the beginning, it's typically coming from the founder, or from their own self, from their own pocket. Most common way that startups get funded in the United States is credit cards. It sounds crazy, but that's true. That's one reason why credit card interest rates are so high. So people max out a few credit cards. They max out their bank accounts. They put mortgages on their house and use that money. Second place is friends and family, which is not equally dispersed amongst the population of the US or the world. And then the newest thing in the past 15 years or so is crowdfunding. So now you can go out to the market before your product's ready. And you can go to Kickstarter and sell things that you don't have. That didn't exist when I was an entrepreneur, first-time entrepreneur, which is 30 years ago now. And then we get to grants. And then finally, we get to angels and angel groups. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So we're not going to talk about venture capital or anything comes after that. We're not going to talk about the stuff that comes before that. We're just going to focus on angels and angel groups.